we've talked about why we have a church, and we've talked about it in terms of that there's something about worshiping God together that has real power, that lifts our spirits in a way that we're not able to do when we're simply on our own. And we come together and worship, and we praise God, and we confess our sins together and receive forgiveness, and we receive what the Lord has for us each week from His Word, and not just on Sunday, but throughout the week as we read it on our own and study it, perhaps in small groups. And then, as JT reminded us last week, we go forth to share the good news, and we're the sent ones. As Jesus said, as the Father sent me, so now I'm sending you into the world. And so we have a sense of what we're doing, and what we've been talking about in the last weeks. Those could apply to any church. And it doesn't matter whether that church would be in Manchester, Connecticut. It doesn't matter whether it's in another part of Connecticut. It doesn't matter if it's what denomination it is. It doesn't matter where it is in the world. Those things could apply. But the question logically is, and we want to talk about it today, well, why is that building there? Why are we gathered here? Why has God placed us here? What does He have for us to do? Why are we at the corner of Main Street and Hartford Road? The general answer, and that certainly applies, is that we're trying to make a difference for Jesus. But how do we do this? And when I have questions, I go to the Scriptures, and this is a passage that was and is very, very helpful. And it's you heard Terry read it. And so the big thing that we're working on is we're here to carry out Jesus' mission for the church. In order to do that, everyone is needed. Everyone is needed. Whatever table you're at, everyone is needed. Wherever you are. Upstairs, people are in pews, as you may know. And I said, even if you're in the back row, you're needed. And someone greeted me at the back row and said, we count too. And I said, absolutely, wherever you are. So what was Jesus doing? If we are to carry on Jesus' work, we need to know what He was doing. So what He was doing, and He was going to every town and every village, every city, and wherever He went, He did the same thing. He taught people in the synagogues. He preached, He shared the good news of the kingdom with people who were not in the synagogues, so that they might know that God cared about them. Even if they weren't part of a religious community, He didn't leave His work solely for those that were in the religious community. He wanted those beyond to know about God's concern for them and the good news that He had for them. And He went about healing every disease and every sickness. That was what He was doing. And the idea is that, in the words of the Scripture from last week, as the Father sent Him to teach and to preach and to heal, so He sends us out as well. And so we ask the question, do we in the church still need direction? Yes. Do we still have a tendency sometimes to go off the path? Do we still need correction? Absolutely, we still do. And children, youth, and adults, we all need to be taught and keep growing. Yesterday, I went to a continuing ed seminar that my boss asked me to go to, and it was about racism, and it was reminding us, or perhaps telling some of us for the first time, that there are certain things that go along with being white. There are certain privileges. And really what they were talking about, though it wasn't the top verse of the day, really what they were saying is you've said that you are committed as followers of Jesus to loving your neighbor as yourself. Well, this is a way that you might want to think about how you can do that. And it was a very helpful application of loving our neighbor. And so we all need to keep learning and teaching and being instructed, being corrected and being directed. Does that make sense? And then we all need good news. People are very hard on themselves. People are very hard on themselves. And sometimes people have said, I can't forgive myself for something I've done. People need to know that God loves them and that God paid the price so that they could be forgiven, that Jesus gave his life for that. People need to know that. People are still lonely. People are still isolated. We all need good news. People still have unmet needs. People still need healing. We may have resources physically to get healing that were not available in the first century. We have Band-Aids and doctors and hospitals and so many other things. And God uses them to bring healing, but there are other kinds of healing of the heart and the spirit and the mind that we need God's help with, in addition to medical practitioners and psychologists and counselors and so on. So the point is, Jesus was doing all those things, and the problems persist. If the problems didn't persist, then we'd have nothing to do. But the fact is they do, and so we've got to continue doing the work of Jesus. So the need is great. The need is great, and people are hurting. The scope of our ministry is directly related to the size of the crowd and to the needs of the crowd. And the key word here, and it's in the NLT, it talks about he went about doing these different things, and then it just uses this little word, saw. When he saw the crowds, and he had compassion on them. When he saw them, and we'd like to think that everything is great and good in everyone else's life. We'd like to think that we're the only ones that have problems, but it's not the case. It's not the case. People are hurting. Jesus saw it, and he identified the problem that people were having, the common problem that we still struggle with. He said, and noted that they were harassed and they were helpless. They were harassed and helpless. And the fact that being harassed means that they were somehow, life had just done them in, and they were tired out, they were worn out, and just feeling like, in many ways, I'm sure, life wasn't quite worth living. And then there were people that were harassed, and people still are, and people are still helpless, feeling isolated, left out, feeling lonely. I read an article that Terry shared with me that ultimately came from my younger brother Bill, and it was written by Melissa Langsam Brownstein, and she writes as a practicing Jew, and she writes a column called "I'm an Observant Jew. Here's why I want more Americans to know Jesus." More Americans. So just an intriguing article, don't you think? And she just lists off some of the things that we know about how hurting people are. Talks about the fact that every day in this country, 130 people in the United States die after overdosing on opioids. We have a group that Jeff Kieft is a part of and leads, and one of the things that they do, working for peace and justice, is thinking about the opioid crisis and if there's anything that we can do. And we can, if you're interested, see Jeff. They work on that and other things. Substance abuse is so widespread that babies are born suffering from opioid withdrawal. We've heard that. We perhaps know that the number of kids placed in foster care in the United States due to parental drug use has more than doubled over the past 2 decades, rising to nearly 96,700. And then it talks about the deaths of despair and how those have been growing steadily. The point is that there were people that were hurting in Jesus' time, and there were people that are hurting today. And Jesus identified the primary issue, the primary problem, the primary way that we can help. And he says, when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. And if you were to look at a sheep and that sheep didn't have a shepherd, chances are it would be lost. Chances are it would be starving. Chances are that its time was limited because a predator could easily take it out because it didn't have anyone to protect it like a shepherd does, didn't have anyone to provide for it and to say, stop eating the moss off rocks. Just a few feet away from here, there's a lush pasture that you can feed on. So picture that. Picture this lonely sheep. Can you picture the lonely sheep? Without a shepherd, probably scrawny, and probably the sheep that you see today, you may not see after tonight because something may have taken it out. And he uses that image for people that don't have him in their lives. Because he says, I am the good shepherd. And the good shepherd knows his sheep and they know him. So when we have a shepherd, we have someone that knows us inside and out, knows our heart. We don't have to explain ourselves to him. He knows our stuff. He knows my issues. He knows what I'm good at and knows what I'm not good at. He knows, even though now you're finding out I'm a little bit smiley because my team beat the in-state rival this week. He knows that inside out. He knows what's going on in your, and we know him. Not only that, we have a shepherd. He says, I am the good shepherd who lays down his life for the sheep. I think there's not a person on earth who doesn't know that they are so precious to God that he came and he laid down his life for them. I think we know a lot of people that don't have a shepherd. Don't we? I think we do. And they need one. And that's the way we can help. If we can do one thing, if we can pass out a box, if we can help someone with addiction and they say, well, why do you do that? Well, we're the church. We're the Church of Jesus Christ. And we follow a guy who met needs just like this when he was around. And he's in us. And so we want to meet needs just like this because he's real and we want ultimately for you to know him too. That's where we're at. I wrote about this in my letter. How many of you, by the way, received a packet like this in the mail? Raise your hand if you got one. If you didn't, raise your hand if you didn't get one. If you didn't get anything like this, there's a stack of them right next to JT maybe, or right there. Right there. Do you see where they are? So if you don't have one, you do something like this. You go right over here, and you pick this up, and in it, you'll read a letter that's just verbal gold. Verbal gold. And it isn't. It isn't that good. But anyway, let me just give you a teaser, a sampling. Why has God placed us here? I believe the future of South Church is secure because we understand the reason God has strategically placed us at the corner of Main Street and Hartford Road. We are here because people within walking and driving distance of South Church still need to hear the message, the good news of Jesus Christ. We are here to make sure children still hear the story of the birth of a baby, a Savior who is Christ the Lord. We are here to make sure children, youth, and adults are able to grow in the grace and knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We are here to make sure college students still understand that God loves them, even though they may be far away from home, and that His people at South Church care about them and are praying for them as they wrap up their semesters. How many are we going to reach out to, JT, do you think, this semester? How many so far? At least 20. Awesome. We're here to see that economically disadvantaged families in Manchester receive what they need to celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving in the name of Jesus Christ. We offer them in the name of Christ. We are here to worship and praise our triune God and to share His healing, helping, saving love near and far. That's just a taste. But so anyway, what this is this is an invitation to be on our team, to be a part of doing the good work we're trying to do. And I just believe that if you know that you're needed, that you'll take part. So anyway, the need is great. Are you overwhelmed? Do you ever get overwhelmed with the need out there? You know, you hear those statistics, and I could have given a lot more. We should be. We should be overwhelmed with the challenge. If we truly see and understand the scope of human need and suffering around just our community, or expand it out to our region, our state, our country, our world, we should be overwhelmed. Because if we think that we have the resources to meet those needs on our own, in our own strength, we're fooling ourselves. And so we pray. We pray and we say, God, please help. Help us to do what we're supposed to do. And in Jesus' words, we pray for workers. So what's interesting is He looks at the crowd, He surveys everyone. You know, picture Manchester Road Race Day. Picture if you were on that drone or watching the drone, and picture the thousands of people there, and think about the overwhelming needs of them, just them, the 15 or 1,000 or so people in Manchester, and how overwhelming that is. And so then He takes aside His followers and He says, this is the plan. This is the plan. The harvest is great. We say, Lord, people are cynical. They won't respond. Our message is outdated. He said, no, the harvest is great, but the workers are few. He says, in fact, if you're willing to go, if you're willing to share the good news, if you're willing to work, people will respond. The issue is the response, the harvest is only limited by the number of people that are there to harvest it. You know, there are places where they desperately need people, orchards where they desperately need people to pick the fruit so that they'll be able to harvest it. And He said that's the need. It's not the community, it's not the crowd. They will respond. We just need to be willing to share. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. So ask the Lord of the harvest to send out workers into His harvest. Pray for workers. Pray for workers. What's a worker? In our tradition, a worker is someone who prays. I have to be completely honest and say, that's the one thing I wish I had done more. And I try to be more committed to it today. When I get stressed out about what I have to do or what needs to be done, pray and ask God for help. And you know what's amazing that I'm continually reminded in? I've been praying. I've been praying for a long time. Do you believe that? I was praying when I was a kid, and you would think the basic principles of how it works would have gotten through and dawned on me. You know, the idea is we fold our little hands and we pray, God listens, and somehow, some way, God answers. You know, we pray for sick people and they get better. We pray for lonely people to know God's love, and it works. We pray and we feel peace. And you would think that message would have gotten through when I was 12. But somehow I get grown and we get grown up and we think, well, Lord, I've got this. You've given me a mind, and I'm going to use it. You've given me a body, and it's strong, and I'm going to do everything I can to get it done. And the truth is that the net result is often stress. And he says, so the key thing is just to be praying. Pray, attend, show up. That's part 2. Give what you can. Pray less. Stress less. What is it? Stress less, pray more. Play less, worship more. Manage less, give more. Think less of my story and tell more of Jesus' story. That's the idea. That's the idea. Can I read you just one more section of the letter? I know you're going to read it. And I'm not reading the whole thing. You may be thankful for that. And I'll just close with this. People of South Church, hear this. It's time for us to dream again. It's time for us to ask the Lord what more He would have us be and do. It's time to dream again. It's time to ask the Lord, am I doing all that I should be? Or do you have more for me? It's time to dream again. The future ministry of South Church will be determined by those who are committed to making it happen. We all need to ask, what should I be giving? We all need to be sharing our faith in Jesus. We all need to be praying. We all need to be serving. We all should be serving as we are able. We all should be attending worship whenever we're in town. These are the things we promised when we became members of South Church. So it's time to dream once again. And I dare to believe that you're willing to be a worker and you're willing to say, pray for workers and dare to say, Lord, and if you want me to be one of those, I'm willing to do that. As long as any of us are on the sidelines, our mission won't be what it can be. But when we all sign up and we all do it, God only knows the sky is the limit. Do you believe that? So what's going to happen is you're going to go home, you're going to read this letter, you're going to pray about it, you're going to talk to the people in your household, you're going to reflect on it, you're going to see how you feel led, and then next week you're going to bring the card in, and we're going to bring them all in together, and then we're going to have a wonderful celebration of all that God is going to do in us and through us. Make sense? Let's pray. So, Lord, give us your eyes to see the world, to see the need. Because we know that if we have our eyes, we'll be overwhelmed. But if we have your eyes, we won't be overwhelmed. And Lord, make us prepared to be workers, to do something. Lord, continue to raise up workers. Raise up workers in this room, that we might continue to do all that you have for us to do now and in the years to come. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.